what exactly is digital marketing? Everybody thinks of like, oh, I'm going to throw an ad on Facebook or something. Can you explain a little bit just like the history of it and how it evolved and how we're here today?
Sure. It continues to evolve, to be honest with you. And, it's really any type of advertising or marketing that you could do that is online or is not
Okay.
paper or print. So traditional advertising is always done in newspapers, magazines, billboards, even the pasted bills that you see on the side of construction sites. It's kind of like
Uh-huh.
your traditional and out-of-home marketing. Digital marketing involves any type of advertising that you can buy through digital, and it shows up on either a website, on your television, on your Apple, on Apple TV, on a Chromecast, digital devices as a whole. So it used to be when it first started just on your computer. So digital advertising
Okay.
originated when you would buy display advertisements, which still exist today, on, say, the New York Times when you go online.
Mm-hmm.
It's evolved to so much more now with it touching now social media. So as you mentioned, buying ads on Facebook being one part of that. Twitter is another a big channel for advertising as well. Buying Google, obviously one of the other bigger players there. But now
Mm-hmm.
it's extending further because you have your mobile device. You play games on your mobile device. There's advertising
Right.
with those games if you don't pay for the full version. When
Right.
you're watching Hulu, about every 15 minutes, you get a regular interruption like you would on traditional TV. That's actually
Uh-huh.
digital advertising that's buying those advertising spots. It's a little bit different. So it just continues to expand as more devices enter into our world. And it really is just the bigger ecosystem of how you find consumers as a brand and sell to them or reach them for engagement.
Wow, that makes sense. And do you have kind of like anecdotally like percentage of advertising for traditional versus digital? I mean, has digital, is it at 50% or is it higher or how? I'm just curious on that if you know.
It's tough to say because spending tends to skew on the traditional side in terms of amount of dollars. The reason for
Okay.
that is just much more expensive. So if I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to buy a billboard that's on Houston Street in New York City, and I'm a beauty brand or something, it's gonna be very expensive to put a big billboard up and have it sit there. And they're estimating how many people see it by how much traffic is driving down Houston Street. So
Okay.
dollars, and while that's one ad, for that same amount of ad dollars, I could be running an Instagram, Facebook, Google, like YouTube. I could be across a variety of channels and serving 20 times the amount of advertising to people with digital. So spending wise, it still skews towards out of home or traditional, but the amount
Mm-hmm.
of impressions and how many ads are actually being served skews very heavily on the digital side now.
Okay, that makes sense. And isn't something like LVMH, don't they spend most of their money on digital advertising now as opposed to the traditional
It's funny.
magazine pages?
So I started working with LVMH in
This
2009.
wasn't planned, by the way. This just
Oh, it
happened.
wasn't. That's why I think it's hilarious. This wasn't part of our prep talk. So my digital agency that I worked at before I started my own business, we were agency of record for digital for LVMH. And at
Okay.
that time in 2010, or actually it was 2009, LVMH wasn't spending in digital very much at all. And what they were doing in digital was like what other brands were doing in 2005. So our brand, actually, my agency at the time, took all of those brands into digital, launched them for the first time. Some brands like Zenith watches, for example, never done anything in digital until we started with them. And it's funny,
Wow.
now we fast forward 17 years later, and yeah, their ad budgets are moving more and more into digital now than ever before, and it's starting to topple what they're doing in magazines, print, and commercials.